you have to like slowly press square to like sneak forward, and there's this monster in a cage, and the key is on the cage, and so you have to sneak up to the cage and grab it.
Yeah,
but like he keeps turning around, you gotta like freeze, and then like when he turns back around, keep slowly.
It's so funny. Yeah, it's straight up red light, green light.
Yeah,
which of course just makes me think of Squid Games.
Oh,
So he's got to play because he will die. He's got to straight up play Squid Games in order to get that.
If you've been enjoying this, appreciate you guys watching. Thanks everybody for sticking around for 11 episodes, soon to be something like 14 or 15.
It's going to be one of our longest.
Yeah, it's a long one.
Analyses.
If you've been here, if you've been enjoying it, all we ask is that you please support the show. There are many ways to do that. You can like the video and subscribe to the channel and share it on relevant forums, or you can check out our Patreon and make it possible for us to continue making the show. Please go check it out, because we're doing a vote right now for the game we cover next after this. Do you want to see us cover Metal Gear Solid 3? Big remake coming out for that here in the coming weeks. Cason's playing that as we speak.
I am.
Do you like it?
Yeah, so far I like it, but man, is it getting even more wild than the ones before it.
It's every time he gets crazier. All the way up to Death Stranding 2. He just gets crazier every time.
Yeah.
So that's on there, on the poll. We've also got Expedition 33, which is currently in the lead, Final Fantasy 12, FF12, and Xenoblade Chronicles. A lot of people been asking us to cover that now that we're done with Xenogears and Xenosaga.
It's about time to maybe jump back into something.
To some Xeno?
Some Xeno something.
Although, that being said, we're probably not going to quite get there today, but we're going to get to the Xenogears part of FF9 soon.
It's coming. It's coming.
Every good RPG has a moment where it does a Xenogears part.
Yes.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, because you haven't played Xenogears, go watch our series on that.
Watch our 60-hour series on the game.
Anyway, please check out our Patreon, support the show, and make it possible for us to continue making these. We appreciate you guys. All right, what we are going to do is, in today's recording session, which will likely be split into 2 episodes, we will be getting to the end of Disc 3.
Yeah.
So for this episode, we'll probably be talking about where we left off at the Desert Palace, Oveliart, or however you pronounce that word. Vert, whatever. Vert,
the French kind of just don't pronounce the last few letters.
And there's a whole lot of other stuff kind of in between all of that. And then that leads up to essentially Ibsen's castle, the 4 shrines, the elemental shrines, which leads into the Xenogears part.
The Xenogears part, I love it.
Okay.
You'll find out next week.
So we left off right as they went into the Desert Palace. I think I said erroneously last time that Oveliart was the stronghold of Kuja. Wrong. He does not want to go there because you can't use magic in that place.
Oh, that's right. He sends us to go there.
Anti-magic place.
Yeah,
so he's like, you go instead. So Kuja is essentially drawing us in to his stronghold, which is in the Desert Palace.
Yep. So he's got those like prison cells and whatnot.
Yes.
Everything's very circular.
In order to put us in a predicament, or I should say put Zidane in a predicament, in which he will be forced to do Kuja's bidding.
Yep.
In order to save his friends or protect them.
Now, have you noticed this, that every time there is a situation like this where the bad guy takes someone hostage or something, the good guy 98% of the time always has to just go along with it, right?
Yeah, just has
and
to.
it's like, don't worry, we'll figure something out later, you know?
We've
but you really don't have a choice.
We've talked about this before. There's a trope. I seem to remember there being an actual name for this trope. Go look for it on TV Tropes or whatever. Where it's like, we're doing exactly what the bad guy wants us to do, but we'll figure it out anyways.
Yes.
This is essentially a version of that.
Yeah, so many times this happens, and it's a way of kind of clawing us like deeper down into the pit of like despair. Like how can this end well? like we just keep going down and down and down. This happens in basically all the Final Fantasies. But the thing that you're trying to do, you keep having to like, oh no, the one reason why we're here, we just had to freely give to Kuja. And now what do we do? That's okay. We'll always think of something. And they always do think of something. At least the writers think of something for them so that everything works out right. But there's still probably something we can learn from it.
Yes, exactly. So when I was playing through this part, it almost felt like there was a scene missing or something. I'm not saying that there was. I'm not saying that like there necessarily needs to be a scene. It was just like you go to the little sand whirlpool and you enter, and then all of a sudden you wake up in a cell.
You just kind of fall asleep and you just, everything goes black.
It's like, well, what happened?
Yeah.
Right? Like all of a sudden you're just in a cell. So, I don't know. Kuja used some magic, put us to sleep. We woke up in the cell. The
Sleeping
cell
magic
is designed in such a way to where the floor can kind of open up underneath it into like a lava pit underneath.
Yeah.
So Kuja begins opening this to help Zidane understand the predicament.
Right.
You're going to do what I say, otherwise I open the floor in your friend's cells and they fall in the lava and die. Or you can do what I want you to do. So come talk to me about that. So you go talk to him. He describes this place called Oveliert, which is like a dungeon or palace or something along those lines, wherein magic is restricted. You cannot use magic. Your magic abilities are like, you can't use them in this dungeon. So this is your hint to not bring Vivi.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Bring people like Amaranth or Steiner or something. Actually, can you? I guess you could. I didn't bring Steiner, but then Steiner became kind of like the leader of the party in the Desert Palace second portion.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
so it seemed so like, I guess the way it played out, like almost like he needed to be there, but I guess it could play out a different way. A different person would lead the party.
Interesting.
I took Freya and Amaranth and Eiko with me.
Oh, you took I left Eiko.
Yeah. Again, a character you probably should leave because you can't use magic.
Yeah.
Because that would leave you with... I suppose the reason I did that is because that would have left you with only magic users in the other dungeon.
Ah, smart.
You wouldn't have had a single like melee class at all.
Right, yeah.
So I guess that would have been why. But anyways, those are the ones that I took with me. So Kuja says, choose a few of your friends. We're going to put you on the Hildegard and we're going to take you over there.
Yeah.
So you fly over there to the Forgotten Continent. This is the continent on the west side of the planet, the westernmost continent.
Yeah.
And it's mostly desert and plateaus and things like that. But there's actually a lot of stuff over here, particularly the lagoon where you can do more chocograph hunting.
Of course.
or digging the Choco Hot and Cold game.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of treasure you can find here and things like that. So I spent a lot of my time doing that rather than just going straight to that dungeon. I was going around finding all the treasure and doing all the stuff. So this section of the game, there's actually a lot of side content that you can do. So.
Yeah, lots of that, long dungeons, and lots of exploring. And not a ton of story stuff, although we're going to get into that.
Yeah, so... I thought you had some notes about the eyes.
I did. So, and this was true in Kuja's little place as well. But there's a heavy eye motif, and everything is kind of circular, and all the rooms that they're stored in are circular. And then you'll notice that the way that I'm going to call it an aperture, opens up in order to reveal the fire pit underneath is just that. It's an aperture. It's like an iris. It's like how the eye kind of dilates and opens and
it's almost
and closes.
Exactly like how a camera aperture opens and closes.
The blades.
Actually.
It's, I think 8 blades.
Yeah.
So the number 8 also factors in pretty heavily here. And then you have the 1 in the middle, the 8 around. It looks like an eye, and everything's circular. You don't have square rooms. You have like circular rooms, which is interesting, even the prisons and whatnot. So I thought that was interesting. But then when you go to Oivet, you also see that eye motif as well. You see eyes and that same kind of stuff. But it's a little bit different this time. It's like got the triangle around it, right? So it's the triangle with the circle.
It's like straight up the Illuminati, dude.
Yeah, I know it is. Or what was that Harry Potter one? Where it's a triangle, a circle, and then a line.
In the 7th book.
Yeah,
right?
the 7th
Whatever
book.
the
That whole
fetch that
thing.
was called.
The Deathly Hallows.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
You've got a similar looking thing, right? Which I'm not a fan of in terms of like some symbology. You know, it's
You're telling me J.K. Rowling is not as versed in.
Well, through reading the books, I actually think she really is, but she watered it down quite heavily to avoid maybe a lot of the issues with that kind of stuff and children. But yeah, that's what it looks like. It's got the triangle, a circle, and then another triangle. It's actually like concentric triangles going all the way in. 3 triangles, I noticed. Also, the triangle is divided into 3 pieces. And so I had my own read on it at first. And it turns out that the Ultimania actually does explain this symbol. We've seen it before. This was at the Aoife tree. We saw the triangle with the circle and another triangle inside the Aoife tree. And it it's more explicitly laid out in the Ultimania that these are 3 triangle pieces that were broken apart and that are meant to fit back together. And the circle actually represents a whole, not necessarily a circle in general. So instead of the value of 1, which I would generally give to a circle, this is meant to be the value of 0, which is there's a problem. So the triangles are trying to fit back together, and there's something missing, right? That's probably going to be more relevant next episode when we talk about some of the other stuff that this leads to. But you do see the symbol present, and it's worth pondering about what exactly that means because there's some interesting implications with that.
Well, there's going to be that eye symbolism all over the area we go to at the end of what's going to be in next episode as well.
Into history.
And also the eye in the sky from the
that's
Invincible
right.
ship.
That's right. So we've been seeing these symbols all throughout the game.
Yeah.
And here we're finally seeing, maybe we're approaching something like a source of that type of stuff.
Right.
And so we're starting to see a lot more of it laid around us.
Yeah.
Also, everything kind of looks greenish. There's a lot of like emerald and green in terms of color. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting as well.
Yeah. But in this dungeon, as you're going through it, is where you begin to learn about this other planet called Terra.
Terra. Oh, yeah. Zidane can read, and he can't even explain why. He looks at the, there's a bunch of, there's like a different alphabet and a bunch of projections, almost like holograms, kind of showing up. And he looks at it and he's like, I don't know why, but I can read that. I know what it says, basically. And so he's going around and he's interpreting all of these things. And it's sort of like historical records, but like really brief, summarized historical records. Yeah, there's a part you can go into that shows like a progression of ships, like airships, basically.
Yes, that led up to the Invincible.
And then the final one is the Invincible, which is the ship with the eye on it, the one that Garland pilots. And elsewhere, they're just kind of saying historical things about a place called Terra. Now, this is interesting to note that the place we've been in is called Gaia. And now we're learning about another place/world called Terra.
We're talking about the difference between Latin and Greek.
Exactly. And but there's something interesting about this because while often we'll conflate the two because Roman mythology is so similar to Greek mythology that we just kind of say, oh, they're kind of all the same. You know, the Romans more or less just borrowed from the Greeks and whatnot. But the Romans, believe it or not, did not like the Greeks. And what
a surprise.
So much so that in the Trojan War, the Romans said, we side with Troy. In fact, the Aeneid is basically Rome's like founding work. Well, not really because it was written later, but it became kind of a national epic for the Romans, despite coming hundreds of years after, the founding of Rome. And it explains that the first Roman, Aeneas, actually came from Troy. He was one of the fighters in Troy, and those darn dumb Greeks showed up, screwed everything up, and Aeneas had to leave Troy and go on his own, the Odyssey. So they didn't like Odysseus' The Odyssey because he's Greek, so they made their own The Odyssey. And he goes to the underworld and goes and finds all the monsters, and then lands in Rome and eventually founds the city.
Yeah.
And the difference between Rome and Greece, I would say, if you're going to just kind of put a word on it, is that Rome was obsessed with order. Rome was the way that they took a lot of Greek ideas, though they would hate to admit it. They took a lot of Greek ideas. I mean, not all of them. The general populace was like those darn Greeks, but really the intellectual class of Rome, they were reading everything that the Greeks ever wrote, right? Like they were very much like they liked Plato, all that stuff. I'm being a little bit hyperbolic, but there was a tension between the two. And basically the Romans looked at themselves as being the civilizers who took the Greek ideas and basically turned it into like an order. Something that a society that they could use to conquer the world with. Like Greece, despite having massive influence around the known world at the time where they were at, Rome took it to a whole nother level. And they created an ordered system, a very clean, ordered system that they were very proud of. And so I would say that the difference between these two is that Terra is kind of an outside-ish force that is looking to impose order on what is the natural philosophy, wisdom-loving peoples of the Greeks, right? So the Rome versus Greece, that comes into play here in Terra versus Gaia. So Gaia is a little more natural. It's a little more connected to like nature and whatnot. I'll just put it that way. Whereas Terra seems to be something of an outside influence looking to impose a foreign order onto this Greek nature that they found. Just based on Terra and Gaia, I pulled all that out, and I believe, and also the way that game events kind of unfold. I think that's more or less accurate, and why they would have gone with these names for the world. Because you could have gone with like there's Germanic words, there's Russian words, like they went Greek, Latin. It's very interesting.
It's also interesting that happens to coincide with this game being just one long callback to previous games in the series.
Yes,
Final Fantasy VII's world is Gaia.
That's right. Yep.
Terra is a character in Final Fantasy VI.
Okay, but I think it's deeper than that.
I think you're right.
Okay,
but it's just interesting that like they are able to kind of pull that parallel you're talking about while also using names that they've already used in previous games.
Which is pretty cool, actually. It's kind of cool.
It adds
different layers and dimensions.
It adds just another layer of thoughtfulness to naming conventions, the reasons why they set things up the way they do. If you've ever tried, I don't know how many people who watch have tried either writing their own fantasy story or maybe, you make games or art or whatever, where you come across this problem. You're in your world, creation process, and you have to start putting names to things. And I mean, one way I guess you could do it is to just sound out some word and just assign a word to it that doesn't mean anything. But that's not the way, at least culturally on this world, it was done. Things were named for specific reasons, and they had meaning. And so you get words that within the language that culturally have significance, and they gave that name to that region for a purpose.
Yeah, I like this.
And when you build your world with the linguistics in mind, it adds culture to the world you're creating. Even if it's just language and culture are hand in hand in this way. And so they didn't just name it Gaia and Terra because those were two words they used before in the series. They're thinking about the dichotomy between these planets in this game story and which words from the history of our series should we pick to name. Oh, that would work because there's this parallel you're explaining. So it's good world building.
It adds depth. Yeah. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, I think it's great. And so this dungeon is kind of where you begin to learn about this other world, Terra. It's not like a ton of detail or anything. It's kind of just starting to seed some of the concepts.
And they do a really good job of showing this because we'll get to this, but I'm just going to jump ahead a little bit. We go to a room with a bunch of like talking faces on the wall.
This part's crazy.
But here's the thing. There's only like 5 or 6 full faces remaining out of hundreds that used to be there that are basically broken or not functional anymore. And so we're getting this history expounded unto us by these faces, but there's so much more to tell that is lost to time, it seems. So you kind of get a visual representation of that. Like, we're just getting a piece here. What if all these other squares were able to talk?
Yeah.
There would be a longer story here.
Visitors, listen well. This is the record of our civilization. Then you have a different face, kind of lights up. The seed's decline was not our fault. All vegetation and vessels died out. The decay of our terra triggered it all. In order to stop the decay, many methods were considered. Another face. Ultimately, the best minds of Terra civilization gathered. Then a final resuscitation was attempted on the mother continent. Unfortunately, it ended in failure. It was later discovered to have been the catalyst. Subjects were selected. Another face lights up. After 4 tremendous sacrifices, eternal prosperity seemed within reach. Flora and fauna were revived, but is still in stasis. Final results are still pending. I think this is the last face that lights up. In order that our glorious history not die with us, we were constructed.
The glorious history.
I know.
So this is a fallen civilization. Once again, anytime if I just say the words, a fallen civilization, other than maybe Atlantis, what do you think of? I don't know.
Like a single fallen civilization?
Yeah, like when people say, oh,
Rome.
Yeah, Rome. I mean, that's just what, now
Yeah.
obviously we're Western. Maybe
Yeah.
there would be different associations in like the Southern Hemisphere or in the Eastern Asia.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, when you're talking about, oh, we had a great glorious civilization that fell and crumbled, and
It's usually Rome.
it's Rome. Like, that's what it's talking about. And of course, they called their place Terra. It's just another thing to kind of reinforce it. But yeah, so it's a failed civilization trying to revive, can't seem to do it, and so is trying to, what would you call it, leech off of another civilization in order to continue its own.
Yeah.
There's probably, and I've heard this before about FF9, but there's probably at least somewhat subtly a like colonization critique happening here as well.
Oh, sure.
That like, and specifically targeted at Rome as well. That through the breaking down of Rome, that after it expanded so much, that the pieces of Rome, which was just Western Europe, I guess, as it eventually kind of reconstituted in whatever form it did, then sought to kind of go out other places in the world and either impose its own order or take stuff so that it could rebuild its kingdom that was once glorious and great. Something like that's happening here as well.
Yeah. A really interesting macrocosm going on with this. In this game, we started with Vivi and the Black Mages dealing with the concept of mortality, their own individual mortality. Vivi's response to that has so far been exemplary.
Yes.
The other Black Mages, not so much. They went
they're struggling.
sided with Kuja because he lied to them and told them he could expand their lives.
And it's mostly fear. And if you're wanting to get people to do things politically or, otherwise, fear is the best form of persuasion.
Yes, exactly.
It's like the best one because humans are afraid. And what are we most afraid of? Most afraid of dying.
Yep. So you started with that. We're going to have this. This ends up becoming the villain of the story's main sort of like internal struggle as well, is grappling with one's own mortality.
Yeah.
But it's also the civilization. The entire civilization of Terra was doing the same thing. So afraid to accept or let go that the justification to leech on others or to take life from others in order to sustain themselves for survival became justified. And so these are the beginnings of them sort of like explaining that. They tried many methods, lots and lots of ways to revive their own civilization, revive their own planet. Nothing was working. Nothing was working. And what we're going to continue to discover was the method they landed on as their last ditch effort to sort of survive. So unless you have more, that's pretty much what I've got.
That's pretty good.
Failure. Yeah.
I just, throughout this, as Zedon is learning this stuff, and as we're talking about these different worlds that are, in conflict, I'm just getting some Xenogears vibes.
Yes.
Just a little bit. So it's really fun. I like Xenogears vibes is a good thing, always a good thing. And then we're also experiencing, kind of as we go throughout this, I think at another point, there's some spirals downward, just like at the Aoife tree, where it seems like we're getting a lot of symbolism and architectural connections that kind of point towards the Aoife tree a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is interesting and strange.
Yes.
But it's always going downwards, right? We're spiraling and moving downwards.
Can I just say again how incredible the art direction of this game is?
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever truly noticed how great it is until we started really looking at it for this podcast.
Yeah.
It's not even just the fact that it's artistically, visually beautiful. The Desert Palace in particular has some just astounding pre-rendered backgrounds. Just
it does.
blows my mind.
Yeah.
But always also done with the types of design intentions like what you're describing. The fact that you're getting architectural designs here that liken or sort of remind you of the Aoife tree is important. It is purposeful. It is done with a reason. And it's amazing.
There's also the motif of the color green happening as well.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's really cool when you start piecing together how all of these things are cluing you in. They're giving foreshadowing to an event coming up that, myself included, but I mean, and before now, I'm saying, in playthroughs in the past, but one of the larger criticisms that you hear going around about Final Fantasy IX is that a lot of the revelations of Disc 3 are not foreshadowed or planted earlier in the story.
Right.
And what I've discovered is they absolutely are, just not in really obvious expedition dump type of ways.
Yeah.
They're done through things like design choices in dungeons. They're done through ways like the way Zidane talks about trying to find a place to call home. Through Vivi's character arc. Things of this nature are all kind of pointing toward what we're going to get to at kind of the penultimate moment here of the end of Disc 3. So I think it's actually really well done. And it's subtle. It's layered. It's not, it's not hitting you on the nose. But it is there. And I thought that was it was really cool to notice it in ways that I hadn't in the past, I guess.
That would have been my critique earlier on, was that like, whoa, this came out of nowhere in my mind years ago. Yeah, I agree with you, though. I feel a lot less of that this time.
That should take us through Elvalyurt, right?
Yeah.
Basically, you at the end of this dungeon, you grab, what is the name of the artifact he gets? It's what Kuja sent you there to get.
Yeah.
It's a little triangle with a circle in it.
It's the design. It's
I gotta freaking look up the name for it. Hold on. The Gulug Stone.
The Gulug Stone.
Yes.
Oh, is it Mount Gulug?
Yeah. So that's where Kuja goes next.
Yeah, it's a Mount Gulug. This is a reference to possibly like Final Fantasy 1. I can't remember which one, but there's a volcano called Gulug or Gurug, maybe with an R.
I'm pretty sure that is FF1.
Yeah, volcano.
But there's actually so many references during this section of the game to FF1. There's a musical motif in Mount Gulug that comes from Final Fantasy 1. The music that plays there is basically straight out of FF1.
I love FF1 soundtrack.
Oh, it's freaking great. A character we will be meeting here. Actually, I guess we already did. Did we already learn Garland's name at this point?
Oh, I think
we've already
just said it at
right?
the end of Disc 2.
Yeah, Garland is a direct reference from the villain of Final Fantasy 1. So there's a lot of pointing back to FF1, and this is probably not something I'm going to get into in this episode, but definitely next time. So I'll hold off a little bit, but to tease that a little bit, I have said this in the past that I feel like Final Fantasy IX might be the only game in this long-running series that has ever actually lived up to its namesake. It's one of the only games that feels like it is an end or a final It's sort of like final in a specific era. Maybe we'll call it the beginning era of Final Fantasy's long lifespan at this point.
Kind of. I mean, if you look at it now, they're making FF17 right now, and 8 is like, or sorry, 9. The number 9 is like right in the middle.
Yeah.
Of 1 through 18.
Yeah.
Or 17.
It kind of brought to an end, and I'll talk about why a little bit later. It brought to an end a particular era, a particular time, a particular design philosophy, a way in which this series was kind of developed at one time. And the fact that it's pointing so much back to specifically the first game is really interesting in that sense. And I'll get into more of that later.
Cool.
But so as we achieve the goal here, retrieving the Guluk Stone, and we begin heading back to Kuja, it cuts away to Kuja basically saying, "Oh, I love breaking promises and being a fetcher. And I'm going to kill you guys. There's an hourglass in here. And when the sands run out, the doors underneath you, the floors will open and you'll all be killed.
Yeah.
And Zidane will be so sad to come back and realize I killed all his friends."
But you promised. And he's just like, yeah, the typical evil man stuff.
Yeah, it's good. But essentially, there's a little mini game here that is so, I guess, simultaneously irritating and funny and charming, where Sid is out because Sid was in the same,
right?
Regent Sid was in the same. Was he in the same cell as Zidane when they woke up? I'm trying to remember why he was out.
I can't remember who shared. Yeah,
like
he kind of snuck out himself.
You have to like slowly press square to like sneak forward, and there's this monster in a cage, and the key is on the cage, and so you have to sneak up to the cage and grab it.
Yeah,
but like he keeps turning around, you gotta like freeze, and then like when he turns back around, keep like slowly.
It's so funny. Yeah, it's straight up red light, green light.
Yeah.
Which of course just makes me think of whatever that Korean show was, like Squid Games. So he's got to play because he will die. He's got to straight up play Squid Games in order to get that. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's a funny little mini game. There's a timer on this. You got to do it before the hourglass, all the sands fall.
Yeah.
But you get that, and then there's a whole nother mini game where you got to like figure out the scales, like the weights on the scales.
Oh yeah, that was
for him to climb up to where he can use the key and turn the hourglass the other way. So. I don't really know what to say about this other than it's another great example of how Final Fantasy during this era tended to do a really good job of like just, kind of switching up the gameplay. It's not just dungeons and fighting battles and then cutscenes. They have a lot of little moments like this that break it up, that bring some lightheartedness into it, make it kind of fun and funny. And Sid is always just a great character for that purpose. It's just like this ridiculous looking frog with this giant mustache, like sneaking slowly to try to like get this thing.
Whenever he always makes sounds when he moves because he's always some weird, gross animal, like quack, 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 quack. It's just funny.
But he gets them out. So when they come out, you get a second dungeon. So this is cool. It's basically splitting up the party for 2 dungeons. One party does one dungeon, the other party does the other.
They do another similar thing later on. It's really cool how FF9 does this.
Yeah. The Desert Palace is this second dungeon, and this is possibly my favorite dungeon in the game visually.
Really cool.
Really, really striking and beautiful as a set piece. Every single pre-rendered background is just like unbelievably well designed.
The way that the light kind of streaks in, and there's a lot of, it's just beautiful, but there's a lot of what I would say is like early Christian or Catholic imagery happening here as well. You see statues that look like the saints. You've got angels and dragons and
Demons.
just gargoyle things, demons, all sorts of just really cool stuff here. But the way that it's organized, like, it's beautiful. It is absolutely stunning.
And I really like too the puzzle solving that's kind of involved with this one. It's not like, a Zelda level of puzzle solving or anything like that, but you're supposed to light certain candles in order to cast shadows in the correct direction, in order to open paths.
Oh yeah, it's very cool.
Lighting candles in certain places will open doors
Candles,
that were hidden, that lead to treasure or that lead to places where you need to activate other parts in order to reach the end. I think it's just the right level to where it's not super complex to where you really would get stuck for like a long time, like I can't figure out how to get past this. But it is enough to make you think a little bit. Kind of try different stuff and see what this does when you activate this or turn this one off. There's several rooms like that where you got to do things in a certain order. You got to like light the chalices in a specific order in order to open the way to proceed. It's I don't know. It's one of my favorite dungeons in the game, if not my favorite, because of that kind of combination. On top of the fact that it's really, really beautiful, and you're having the battles and stuff that you're fighting like normal. Yeah, this sort of like lighting, like turning the lights on and off to like open the paths, made it really interesting to me. So I really liked it. Yeah. I don't know if you have any notes.
No, just the paintings and the stained glass and everything is just mesmerizing. It's very, very cool. Really, really. And then the candles, I don't know if this is important at all, but the candles all come in 1s and 3s. And when the candles are just solo candles, there were like 3 of them together. Oh. So because of the triangle that I noticed earlier, whenever I see things in 3s, I sort of just kind of take note of that. But it was hard for me to really draw any direct connection between this and
the other
Oil Verde. Yeah. But there's some connection happening there. But I don't know exactly. These seem just like ruins, just like old ruins.
I would assume
from
that
an ancient society.
Oil Verde is a Terra construction.
And this was an ancient Gaia.
And this is a Gaia construction.
Yeah. And then Kuja just found it, I guess, and started
kind of made it a base,
screwing with it on his own way. Because I saw the connections in Kuja's area when he in that like it's like a library with like a hearth, kind of that place. Yeah. And then the prison cells. But as you kind of move into this other part of it, I'm not seeing that as much.
Yeah. Okay, so at the end, another interesting part of it is based on how you again navigate. And which there are certain like stones, I think they're stones that you collect that will change the boss fight at the end. So it'll like weaken it in certain ways or like deactivate certain like abilities that it has or whatnot. So that's another kind of neat way that they mix up this dungeon from others is based on what you're finding. If you're collecting things, you can change how strong or difficult the boss fight is at the end.
The boss fight is pretty cool too.
Yeah,
he's basically just
like a giant slab,
just a huge symbol. Yeah, slab with like some symbol stuff on it.
Yeah,
I had trouble identifying anything in particular about that, other than the number 5. There's a 5. There's a 5 candlestick holder that gives us an enemy that is shaped with 5 sides, and has a lot of pagan imagery associated with it, as well as like Eastern things. I don't know exactly what it means necessarily.
The pagan imagery would maybe evoke summoner tribe origins of some kind.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, maybe.
So maybe this was in the distant past.
Yeah.
Some kind of, I don't know though. There's the demons and the angels thing that doesn't seem to be necessarily a part of their culture or tradition, but that's the only thing I can really think of Gaia-wise. Pagan would be associated with the Eidolons, but
it's weird that in the center of this Roman and like Catholic kind of area, that the final boss is like this pagan looking thing.
Yeah,
I don't know, it's just very interesting.
It's cool,
very interesting.
So at the end of that, it leads to
this was another funny part that Kuja had like illusions of all of the party members you didn't take with you, that he was like, look at them, they're all dying. And meanwhile, they had already escaped.
Right.
Well, because we were just talking about they've escaped. When Zidane comes back after they have escaped and done all this stuff, Kuja's like, now watch your friends die. And then they all come in the door. And it's like, oh, well, this is awkward. Yeah, I was lying to you. Those aren't really them. I thought that part was hilarious.
Yeah.
But Kuja loves the number 8. This is what I'm getting from all of this stuff. There's the irises and the blades and the apertures and the way all that worked. Everything around him, it's octagons and circles and such. But he's kind of identified himself with that number. He wants to. It's a number of transformation. He wants to become something else than what he is.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
That we'll talk about that in the next episode.
Yes, we will.
So yeah, Zidane comes back with their group, gives the Gulag Stone over, and at that moment, the other party returns from finishing their portion. No, we got to stop him like right now. Like that's not really us in there. Like, and so they run in, but
Aiko
gets separated and closed off. Because Zorn and Thorn are going to attempt to extract Eidolons from her. They're looking
Same way they did with Garnet.
More powerful Eidolons. One thing I really liked about this section is Kuja he doesn't have like a concrete master plan right now. He was not expecting Garland to interfere the way that he did or as soon as he did.
Right.
And so he's scrambling a little bit right now to find some way to even the playing field between himself and Garland.
Okay.
So he's searching for this Gulag Stone. He's going to try to take Eiko, even though she's not 16. And the summoner ritual thing that they use to extract the Eidolons from Garnet is not something that would technically work with, especially without killing her.
Yeah. I have questions about that as we get there.
He's looking for a really powerful Eidolon. He's just looking for anything to give him more power right now.
More leverage.
He's like, I need some power. I am not ready to confront Garland at this time. Right. And he's showing a little bit of desperation. Not obviously on the face when he's, speaking with us, but you can see him scrambling, especially when he's talking to Zorn and Thorn when they're trying. Because
he's getting very impatient.
Yeah, he's very impatient and he's just getting desperate.
It's less, I'm choosing to play a part in this scene. It's more like, figure this out, otherwise it's my neck, Yeah, he's losing control.
Yes. So he goes to Mount Gulag with Eiko and Zorn and Thorn. We follow them there. Estogaza is the name of the little town, the snowy village town that sort of precedes it. They have a whole different culture and religion related with the Shimmering Isles and this sort of path of souls.
It reminds me of India, actually. It's a little more Hindu, it seems, or just at least it feels that way to me.
Now, something just crossed my mind that you're going to have to remind me to come. I just realized the whole path of souls and Shimmering Isles thing, how it relates to what Garland tells us about the master plan in the next part.
Yeah, okay.
It makes me wonder if that religion at that point was created by the Terrans.
We're talking Dune.
Yes, sort of.
Dune
yes, Dune-like.
Yeah, there's like a plant. Well, that's it.
You know where I'm coming.
I know where
this.
you're coming from, and I didn't realize what was going on there enough to have thought much of it at the time. We should go back and check it out.
The only reason I just thought of it is because I had played up to and we finished disc 3, and now I'm going back and that entire religion plays right into the hands of that whole idea.
Okay.
Anyways, sorry, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. we go through Estogaza, and I decided I needed to talk about this just because it was funny in my playthrough. Last time I said I had done all the side content and I had unlocked all of these abilities, and I said something along the lines of, you're basically invincible at this point. And the JRPG gods decided to punish me for this hubris. So there are a couple of bird type enemies. I don't remember what the name is in Estogaza as you're kind of running around that can appear, and they can cast the stop status effect.
Right.
And I happened to not choose that ability to select on my characters, to guard against that particular one.
You can't.
I think I had locomotion. Oh no, sorry, locomotion is the one that keeps you from being stopped. I did not have that. I had maybe jelly, which keeps you from being petrified, and maybe something like clear-headed, or something else I had been dealing with in a prior area.
Gotcha, yeah.
And so it was like, okay, here we go.
Oops.
First battle, I walk into Estogaza, these two birds that are, I don't know, like not a problem, right? There's kind of a lot that goes into how I got annihilated this way. First of all, I'm using Zidane in basically every battle in the game. I almost never attack with Zidane because I'm stealing.
Right, yeah.
I steal every single battle. There's a reason for this because there's an ability that Zidane gets called Thievery. And that ability, the damage is calculated based on the number of times you have stolen in the game. It's a really interesting equation that goes into the damage calculation, but the reason why it's so good ultimately is because it entirely ignores the enemy's defense and evasion.
Oh, wow.
So it's basically a set number that will not be affected by their armor, their defense, or anything else. It skips all of that. So whatever damage it does is calculated, I think, on the number of times you steal and Zidane's speed attribute.
Okay.
So the higher Zidane's speed attribute and the higher the number of times you've stolen, the higher the damage calculation becomes. And essentially, if you steal enough and you're at a certain level where your speed is at, mine was at 27-ish when I hit essentially max damage every time with this.
Okay, yeah.
And it was like maybe 600 or 700 steals. And keep in mind too that Cinna, Blank, and Marcus, anytime they're in the party and they steal, it also goes into the damage calculation. It doesn't have to be Zidane only.
Right.
Just every steal in the whole game. All that gets calculated into the Thievery skill ability, which can be pretty quickly, as long as you're stealing frequently throughout the game, one of the strongest attacks in the whole game. Yeah. So my habit at this point of the game was, two enemies appeared. I'm going to steal this from this one and from this one. Zidane's turns are steal, not doing damage, while other characters do damage, but I always want them to hold back until he gets his steal in first, then kill that thing, then let him steal from the other one, then kill that thing. So because of the way I'm playing it, these birds start casting stop. And I didn't realize that's going to kill me. I thought eventually they'll the status effect will wear off and they'll just kind of come back, right? So Garnet gets stopped. Okay, still got 3 characters going. And then Echo gets stopped. And then Amaranth gets stopped. And then it's like, okay, let me just get this last. And then Zidane gets stopped, and I'm like, this is annoying. I have to wait. And then it's just like, no, game over. You freaking died.
That's wild.
So if you're in Estogaza, equip the locomotion ability on your characters because you can get annihilated this way. And then in Mount Gulag itself, there's those dragons that'll attack you at certain portions in the dungeon.
Yeah.
I think the first one, you kind of go off to the left, and there's like a treasure up here next to where the Moogle's at, and it'll burst through the wall and attack you, and it's just one. And then you go down the well, like you slide down the rope, and then at the bottom of the well, 2 of them come through and attack you. And both of those dudes killed me as well.
Jeez.
Because I was messing around too much and not doing as much damage as I could have been doing.
No, that's happened to me several times.
Yeah. So anyway, I wasn't as invincible as I thought I was.
But now you're invincible.
But basically now I am. Because now I've unlocked, I think I have like 2 characters at this point that don't have every ability unlocked. And that aren't doing very close to max damage every attack. So like the bosses at the end of Disc 3 were like, again, I'm holding back and waiting to steal important items from the bosses. And then as soon as I'm done messing around, it's like, okay, here we go. 9,999, 9,999, 9,000. Okay, you're dead. So anyway, it's kind of funny. But I got annihilated a couple times. So this part of the game is, it can be tricky if you're not careful. So watch out for that.
Very nice. Very good.
There was something else. There was another stupid thing that happened to me. I wanted to bring this up too. So chocograph hunting. I can finally say celebration, woohoo, I'm done playing
You did
Choco
all
Hot
of
and
them?
Cold forever.
Congrats.
I'm
Congratulations.
done. I got them all. But something that was really dumb. So I got the last chocograph from, okay, let's just explain this. I really like, although I don't love the Choco Hot and Cold game itself, I really love the Chocobo side quest here, where the Chocobo is slowly like advancing through the colors
And then you
like
keep going to
reaching
heaven.
paradise, right? Trying to like find its way.
Well, that's funny because that mirrors Kina a little bit in her quest for enlightenment and kind of, going moving up the chakras, and then the chocobos are also on their own
true.
journey.
The chakras, because they're all
moving
colors.
upwards. Exactly.
I didn't. Now that you said that, I'm curious about whether those colors coincide. I think that's a good pickup. The chocobo is going through the path of enlightenment.
Yeah, the path
the Buddhist path of enlightenment.
The Choco. Yeah,
as well. That's great. I freaking love that.
Yeah, that's fun.
Anyway, so I get the last chocographs, and I'm going around and picking up the last of the treasures. One of them has the Hildegard 3 Terramaster card as the prize.
Very nice.
So I go dig that up. Boom. You get this, because it gives you several treasures. You get 18 potions.
Yeah, you always get like a whole bunch
12
of
this, whatever stone it is. And, here's a piece of equipment, and here's a card.
Right.
But then it says something like, what is the exact term? It says something like items over 99 discarded.
Yeah.
Right. So if you have 99 potions and potions are part of the prize, it just discards the potions.
There isn't. Yeah. Yes.
Well, you cannot carry more than 100 cards.
Right.
And even if you're not card collecting in the game,
you
cards
still run into them.
Still are a lot of the prizes you get.
Yes.
And so I had over 100 cards that were just duplicates of weak cards.
Yes.
I had like 12 really weak whatever this is.
You always have to go through and curate your
You
stuff.
have to, because it threw out the Hildegard 3 card.
And there is no option
and I had not saved since digging for those damn chocographs, and I had to go back and do it again. I was so pissed.
But here's the thing.
I was so pissed.
You weren't even going to play the game ever again anyways, were you?
The chocograph.
Yeah,
game?
The Tetramaster.
Tetramaster, no, but I don't care because I'm not keeping some bozo stupid card, whatever, and not getting like the prize. It was a completely stupid thing to get like hung up about, but I was still pissed. So I went back I got the chocograph again, and then made sure I threw out all my stupid cards, my bad cards, so that I could get this card I will never use. But it was still a good card. It's Hildegard 3. You got to get that card.
Goodness.
So that was funny. And then, I don't know, do you have any notes on Chocobo's Paradise? Did you go there?
Yeah, I did.
It's really nice area. Again, good pre-rendered backgrounds. Excellent.
It's very cool. I didn't go there.
Because the little Moogle that's been coming around with you to all the places where you play Choco Hot and Cold, like you talked to him to initiate the games.
Yeah.
So Chocobo Forest, the Chocobo's Lagoon, and then the one in the sky, because you end up flying up to one more place in the sky. It's like islands above the clouds where you play the last set of Choco Hot and Cold to get the last chocographs.
Gotcha.
He's been following you around. He and the Chocobo are buddies. Yeah. And so you go to Chocobo Heaven, and he's like, okay, cool, I'm going to live here too. And he's like, no, you can't. Only Chocobos can live here. He's like, really? Like, no exceptions? No exceptions. It's like, oh. Well, he's like, say your goodbyes forever to this chocobo. And essentially the chocobo, after going through the enlightenment journey, decides he wants to stay.
Yeah, that's a trope. That's another common thing.
Yeah, there's probably a name for this one as well.
There must be. The Disney's Hercules, basically.
Yes, same
thing. It's like, hey, you can go to heaven, but Meg has to stay on Earth. Oh, if I can't be with Meg, then it's not really heaven. So then he comes back to Earth and lives an Earth life instead of staying up in heaven. But I've seen this elsewhere. That was just the example that came to my mind. But it's a common one. It's a common one.
Heaven isn't heaven without The friends you made along the way.
Exactly.
Heaven is the friends you made along the way.
That'd be hilarious to like you like die and in your final judgment it's just like the real heaven was the friends you made along the way, and you're just like, what?
Yep.
Every cheesy movie I watched was right.
They were right all along.
Yeah.
Anyway, fun little side quest, one that I enjoy immensely despite not loving Choco Hot and Cold too much. But it's fun to do, and it's fun to see the Chocobo go through all the stages.
Yeah.
And, I guess we haven't talked about even the airship yet. These moments are always some of my favorite moments.
Getting the airship is so cool.
Unlocking a new vehicle, whether it's airship or in this case a Chocobo, that can start getting you to other places.
Yeah.
I feel like games that were designed in this way from this era always had this really excellent, satisfying sense of exploration. One, because the worlds feel big while being technically small because of the overworld construction of them, right? You can fly across them or go where you want to go fairly quickly in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
But there's a lot packed into that small overworld. And they're blocked off base in the early game because you don't have the ability to climb that mountain.
The mountains or the
pass
oceans.
that river or go across that ocean or whatever. And slowly throughout the game, you unlock methods that get you across certain barriers, but not others. And it just kind of slowly opens this world up a little bit until you get the ultimate vehicle, which is the airship that allows you to go basically anywhere. Or in Final Fantasy games of this era in particular, Chocobos that slowly kind of level up through doing the mini game or the side quest where, okay, this Chocobo can run in the shallows of the oceans or over rivers. Oh, now he can climb over the mountains. Oh, now he can run across the oceans. Oh, now he can fly. I loved that because in Final Fantasy VII, they didn't have a flying Chocobo.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The gold Chocobo in that game just lets you walk or traverse anywhere. So, I mean, it's essentially the same thing, but it doesn't fly. It just runs everywhere. But in this game, you can get a gold Chocobo.
They have wings.
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't think I ever see Chocobos flying, actually.
There have been
kind of
in
treat
the
them
past.
like ostriches.
This is another callback to one of the earlier Final Fantasies where there are Chocobos where you can take off and land in forests. And that's how it works in this game too.
Nice.
So in any forest, you can fly, boop, 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 you come to a forest, and then you can land in the forest and run again.
Nice.
So this is a callback. I believe they did this in Final Fantasy V. And I think it was the black Chocobo that you could fly on or something like that.
Nice.
I'll have to, they'll do it. They'll freaking fact check me on that. I'm pretty sure it was Final Fantasy V. And if I'm not mistaken, no, I'm pretty sure it's 5. Anyway, it's great. And every time it happens, I just have to take a moment to fly literally everywhere, land everywhere, see where I can go, see what's new.
You know what's useful about that is that the airship, which we're going to run into soon here, can not land in forests. It can only land on like the grass, right?
Yes.
And so, it's interesting that you can kind of like do. It depends on where you're going.
Yeah, you can access different places.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because there are certain places where, and this is true of Final Fantasy VII as well, it might be an island of just all forest.
Yeah, and it's
so
like,
you can't land the airship there.
Yeah, can't do it.
You have to use the Chocobo to get there. Vice versa, there's...
Yeah, that's cool.
So, it's really great. But anyway, so I think that's all about side content I wanted to talk about this time.
Okay.
But now that we've finished with Oveliard and the Desert Palace, you go to Mount Gulug. And as you navigate down there, you run into Zorn and Thorn performing the ritual, trying to extract the Eidolons from Echo.
I love that you mentioned the music for Mount Gulug.
Oh, it's great.
While I didn't necessarily recognize exactly where it had come from, my note is this song that plays nice. Like, I think I did recognize it maybe a little bit, but it just sounded, it sounded so Final Fantasy.
It's 100% from FF9, straight out.
Yeah.
Straight out.
So you mentioned Zorn and Thorn are going to extract the Eidolons from Echo, and prematurely, right? She's way too young.
Not old enough
Yeah,
yet.
not even close. But it's failing. It's not like working, right? And this is what Zorn and Thorn kind of bring up, and it's just the weirdest thing when they say this. They're like, what? If we do it any harder, or if we try, or we might kill the host. And I wonder, like, if you kill the host, do you just lose access to the summon? Is that why? Or, like, do they not want to kill Eiko? Because
it is a little weird.
They were going to kill Garnet. They could. Braun didn't need to wait. If she was going to kill Garnet and didn't care, she didn't have to wait till she was 16.
There
must be something.
I can understand your confusion here, because it does, and I thought maybe the Japanese translation would somehow clarify this.
I didn't notice anything, but I can look into it more.
So yeah, they express concern about killing her.
Yes.
But is the reason because then they might not extract the Eidolon?
I would assume
that's it.
Yeah. Otherwise, it just doesn't work.
It's not that they're concerned about her life. It's that they're concerned about failing to get the Eidolon he wants them to get.
Right.
And his response is, I don't care if she dies, just get the thing, which is showing his desperation. He's losing control. And so he's just like, just try it anyways. Whether it works or not, just try it anyways. Yeah. Even if she dies and it's totally in vain and we don't get the thing, it's worth the risk. I just need an Eidolon real bad.
Okay.
I think that's how that's supposed to read.
Okay.
I don't think Zorn and Thorn care about killing Eiko.
I don't think any of them care, but it's weird when he says, I don't care if she lives or dies, just get the thing. That's usually a, do I take them alive or not? It sounds like they could do it either way. They've just been trying not to kill her.
I agree. I think it was a little bit clumsily written or / translated to where it came across like they were like, oh no, we don't want to kill this little girl.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case.
Okay.
I think they are concerned they might not get the Eidolon if she dies.
I like that. I, in a morbid way, hope that that's the case.
Certainly they wouldn't, because they try the whole ritual and it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you must have made a mistake. No, you did. And they're arguing.
They start blaming each other.
So it's like, if she dies, we can't try again.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sense. Yeah,
it's like, so then what? Then we don't get an Eidolon. That would make sense to me as their reason for being concerned about that.
So then Mog shows up, and it's funny because we were like, we were right there. We were so close. And if Zidane and Garnet didn't just keep, Garnet just stops and she can't speak at the moment, right? So it's like ... exclamation point. And everyone's like, what is it, Garnet? Anyways, they all just kind of keep stopping and whoa, I can't believe it. What's going on down there? Instead of like running there, they're all just kind of like talking about it. Anime and RPGs like this will do that often. But we were just right there, dude. Mog possibly did not have to do that, which is unfortunate for Mog. But so he shows up, and it turns out, and I don't know if I got this right either, but I believe it turns out that he has been an Eidolon this whole time.
Yeah, Mog's a girl.
She makes sense.
Yes.
She has been an Eidolon this whole time, just disguised as a Moogle, right?
Yes, correct.
That's right. Okay, so there's an illusion, there's this like mask being put on, but the reason why Mog is such a coward all the time is because this Eidolon can kind of only use its power in a way that would end its own life. That if it entered a situation where it had to fight, it's weakened except for this one really powerful attack it has. But if it uses that attack, it's just going to die, right? And so it runs away from all the conflict and always comes back saying sorry to Eiko later on, but is kind of here to watch over Eiko. And if something really serious ever really did happen, it would sacrifice its own life to eliminate the threat and then at least save Eiko for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
I think so, except for I believe that this summon now becomes an Eidolon that Eiko can summon in battle after this.
I think you're right, actually.
So the idea is not necessarily that Mog dies, it's that Mog turns into the gems that they use for summoning.
Okay, right? But it's not still Mog anymore.
So I would think about it like this, and I might be wrong, but I would think about it like this. It's as if Mog was summoned, but wants to stay being summoned all the time. Yes. Doesn't want to go back into the jewel thing again to be summoned later.
The Pokeball. Yeah.
Right.
It's like
wants
Pikachu.
to just live and walk around and be with Eiko all the time. To do that, it disguised itself as this weak, cowardly Moogle.
Yeah.
Right. But I think you're right. It's like, if the time comes I have to fight and I use my power, then the summoning ends and I go back into the jewel. The only way this doesn't make sense is that who is summoning it to keep it there.
That's fair.
Unless it's just not explained and there's just some anomaly that has happened. Oh, I'm
I mean, Rama was just kind of
that's true too.
Chilling.
He was just chilling around.
But there was this tearful like goodbye moment.
Yeah, because it's not going to be Mog anymore.
Okay.
It's going to go back to being its true nature, and it's not going to like run around with her anymore.
I guess that adds to the confusion a little bit, but
so it's kind of there. I mean, it is technically like Mog dies,
and it is. Oh, fair enough,
right.
But Mog does also say, "I will always be with you," and I guess in that form, of the
I like that jewel that you use for summoning. You can call me as a summon now. I'm an adult. I'm going back to being my true Eidolon self.
Okay. And can't just be resummoned and then be remogged
Can be
again?
Resummoned.
I know, but like in the world, like just become Mog
I don't
again.
know what the rules. I don't know if they thought about the rules.
It was a tearful goodbye, except there were some question marks, and I was like, wait, what exactly is going on here? On multiple levels throughout this whole scene. But it was a good moment for Mog.
Yeah, again,
Mog.
I could totally be wrong about this too. That's just my assumption.
Okay.
My assumption is the spirit of the being just goes back to being its true form as an Eidolon that is summonable through the jewel and can no longer run around being Mog now. So it's kind of like the death of Mog, but the spirit of the thing endures.
It pours its cruelty,
soul, its malice, and its will to dominate all life
into a jewel.
One peridot or whatever to rule them all.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of the jewel. I forget, but it's one of those. That's something we haven't talked about, I think, yet in this playthrough of the game. The jewels you get, Garnet, for example, is the jewel that summons Bahamut.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's like Peridot and like a whole bunch of other precious gems that you collect. There's even ore. That's not one that's a summonable one, but that's one, I guess, element thing that you can get a lot of. And the power of the Eidolon, this is something you were asking about. How are they so strong when you cast it, but when I cast it, it's weak?
Oh, yeah.
In the gameplay, the more of those jewels you have, the stronger the summon is.
So if you get the summon from them, you should just take their jewels too.
Yes. And I think that's kind of what they were doing, right? Like the Desert Star and all the different jewels they were taking. Now, those are different. Those aren't like Eidolon jewels, but anyway, getting sidetracked here. The point is, the more of those jewels you have, the stronger the summon is.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing Braun probably had collected a mega ton of those freaking jewels.
Suppose so.
And that's how Odin just freaking wipes out all of Clara. Or Atmos almost wipes out all of Lindblom. Or Alexandria gets freaking nuked by, it was Atmos. Yeah, Atmos on Lindblom and then Bahamut on Alexandria. And then Alexander in response to that. So that's an answer to that question. The more jewels you have, the stronger the freaking Eidolon is.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So yeah. By the way, Daguerro is the name of one of the towns in this game. Did you go there? It's on the Forgotten Continent in the west. It's like up on a plateau with some waterfalls.
Yeah.
They have a ton of books there. It's like a huge
Dagger,
library.
Yeah, the library.
You can synthesize garnets there with a remedy and some other jewel I forget the name of. It might be ore, actually. I don't know. Anyway, you synthesize garnets there. Go get 100 or 99 of those, because then Bahamut is a beast at that point. Great summon. So that's how you make Bahamut really strong in the game.
So Kuja, basically the black mages, when we come in and we find Kuja again, the black mages are all around him. Well, there's a couple black mages around him that are like, hey, here's my number, sir. And he's like, I don't care about your freaking number. But essentially, this is where he lets them know, like, I can't extend your life, you fools.
Yeah.
Why did you dare trust me? Oh, I'm a trickster. I just lie to people all the time. And so the black mages kind of like give up and leave and stop helping him at that point.
Yes.
And Vivi goes to like comfort them. So they're down here. Kuja leaves. The black mages are like in room that Vivi is like, hey, I'm going to go sit with my people and like talk to them.
Yes.
And then there's Hilda in the other room.
Before we get to Hilda real quick, there was one thing that Kuja says here that I think is important because we're trying to talk about his motivations. He's desperate. He's like, I don't know what to do. I need an Eidolon so bad. They don't get the Eidolon.
No.
Zorn and Thorn, you have a boss fight against them and finally finish them off at this point.
Yeah.
But he says something very interesting. He gets an idea.
Well, it's always like, I didn't need it anyways. Everything. It's always like he didn't actually need it, and everything we do, it's like right into his trap every time.
More or less.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I remember what it is. This
they're
actually
putting
is
the
really
lines
important.
up here now. Great one is.
This is really important, actually. So this is right after Mog makes the sacrifice, and Aiko's, talking about that. Oh, and then you get the ribbon that falls from Mog. Ribbons are always like the best accessory you can get in Final Fantasy games. So Kuja comes back. Everyone turns around to see Kuja walking back on screen. That Moogle went into trance? Question mark. I didn't foresee that could be done. Zidane says, Kuja. Kuja says, so an eruption of anger against one's surroundings induces a complete trance. It's not the will to live, nor is it the desire to protect another. He's deducing that trance is different than what he thought it was before. It's not this great desire to protect someone, boom, a trance happens, or it's that this deep anger can also induce a trance. Zanan says, man, you're really going off. Hello.
Yeah. Hello. Aiko says this sometimes too. It's hilarious.
Aiko says things like that a lot. It's really funny. Especially in what we'll get into next time. There's an area there where she's trying to talk to people and they're like not responding to her. Hello, are you hearing me? Anyway, Kuja says, that means I simply need a powerful soul, even if that soul is not my own. No, wait. And it can be found there. Ha 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 ha. So now he has figured out what he needs to do to get the power he needs. He doesn't need this Eidolon after all. This was a last ditch or some kind of desperate effort. Nope. I just saw that Moogle go into trance. Now I know what to do. Peace. I don't need you guys anymore. I'm out.
Yeah.
So Kuja is scheming something that we'll find out next episode. Now we get to Hilda.
So we show up to Queen Hilda, and we don't know exactly who she is, but everyone's just like, oh, there's this like beautiful woman here. Like, what's she doing? There's like a bed, and it's just an interesting kind of setup happening here. And she doesn't really seem all that concerned either. I guess Kuja wasn't all that like bad to her. He didn't torture her.
No.
He just kind of like
Kuja's
laughed and told her all his plans.
Interesting.
He didn't mistreat her.
No.
And Regent Sid asks in particular, he's like, did he touch you? And she's like, no, he just talked to me a lot. Like Kuja wants to philosophize. Kuja wants somebody with which he can like expound upon his opinions and that they sit there and listen to him. It's not like he cares about their feedback. He just wants an audience for his genius and brilliance.
Here's the way I would put it. Kuja really wants to leave his mark on the world.
Right, yes.
He wants his deeds to be remembered, admired, feared, or otherwise respected or whatever.
Yeah.
He wants to do something that people remember and think about and talk about for a long time.
And he certainly wants the credit. Like if he does something, he wants everyone to know that he's the one that did it. And in part, that's why he's just like telling people his plans.
Yes.
Like pretty upfront.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a guy who will monologue for a while in order to come across as impressive, and hopefully you'll go tell your friends.
Which she does. And so, he just kind of kept her around so he could talk to her, and he would use her ship. Obviously, it's the best ship in the world. But then he would come back and he would just tell her more stuff. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm doing it. Aren't I so smart?
Yes.
And it's kind of funny that he leaves her here. But it seems as though, based on what you had just read, that he really kind of changed his mind about his everything that he was doing here on Gaia. And he decided to go do something completely different. So it doesn't matter if we find Hilda and she tells us everything, because Kuja is like doing something else now.
Yeah, I almost think of it, I guess the way maybe I read this too, is he's almost using her as a way to just bounce ideas. Like he's
sure.
just talking to himself.
I was going to say, it's like talking to himself.
But he's just kind of like, does this make sense? This idea, if I do this and this, like based on a response, it's almost like feedback that like lets him know maybe he's on the right track. That kind of
you
like
need someone.
brainstorming almost, rather than I'm going to lay out my master plan, because he doesn't have a master plan, as we've seen.
Right.
He's kind of just trying to figure it out now.
Yeah, but he has a goal. He has a goal, but
Yeah.
he doesn't really have a system or a plan in order to reach that goal. He's still working it out.
Yeah.
And it almost speaks to like this sociality, this need that Kuja has for peers.
Yeah.
But also this idea in his own mind that he is peerless. I'm
Yes.
above all of you. But I still crave connection with people.
This is
Right?
the half of the character that is very Sephiroth-like to me.
Yeah.
We've talked about how possibly there's no confirmation of this, that this character is kind of like a combination of the Kefka Sephiroth
yeah.
archetypes into one that kind of becomes its own
Kefkaroth.
thing. Something like that.
I like Kefkaroth.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
But a character who is desperate to be peerless, well, maybe
Yeah.
not desperate, thinks that they are, but when that is questioned, kind of like goes off the deep end a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're on the right track, and there is a similarity, I think, between those two characters in that sense.
So Kuja told Queen Hilda her whole plan, but she's like, I can't tell you it all now. Let's just go to Lindblom, and then I'll explain everything. And when we get to Lindblom and she explains everything, it's literally like 2 sentences. She like, do you remember this? They get to the dinner table and it's like, all right, everyone, here's the plan. Listen, and Oglop man, I can't remember his name. Regent Sid shows up and he's just like, okay, now that I've gathered you all here, Queen Hilda, take it away. And she goes, okay, drink some water, stand up. Kuja wants to destroy the whole planet and use its energy for something else. And like, what? And that was literally it. And then Zidon's like, how could he do that? And everyone just freaks out. And then based on that, they all start formulating their plan. But it was so little information.
Yeah.
She could have told them on the airship. She could have told them right there. It's like so short. Now, it's funny. It's funny to look at this stuff and to laugh about it. And there's also other funny stuff in the scene. But obviously, you don't want a 2-hour lecture with notes and PowerPoint presentations in the middle of a video game. So
you need some,
like you always talk about the abstractions of it's not really what happened. There probably was a long meeting with a dinner and some conversation afterwards, but we're skipping all of that and like just get to the point. Okay, Kuja wants to use the energy of the planet to destroy it, basically. Like, whoa, okay, so that's the gist, but it probably was a whole spiel, right? We just didn't get it. Spiel means play, by the way, like a play.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
very interesting.
Okay, so it probably was a whole like presentation. We just
Speaking
didn't see
of
it that way, but it was so funny.
Skipping the boring parts and getting the good part, Sid then goes, while she explains this, I'm going to go build this airship.
Yeah, and that's right. And it takes him like 5 minutes to build a new
Walks
airship.
in the other room. I mean, it's not quite like that because we do leave this area for a bit because Garnet disappears.
You're right. Garnet's gone. Steiner leaves. He misses the presentation.
He leaves the presentation to go, the PowerPoint to go down and look for her and can't find her anywhere.
Can't find her.
He's going
He
through the whole
recruits
city.
Tantalus.
Tantalus helps and they can't
still
find
find her.
And he comes back and says, no, I can't find her. Okay, I know where she's at. You guys stay here real
I'll
quick.
go home.
I'll go find her. Now, that's actually important. It's kind of funny, but Zidane does do that all the time.
That's true.
He'll do okay, guys,
stay
hold
here.
up. You stay here. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
And then he goes and like does something
By himself,
and usually it's in I'm going to go help this person.
Yeah.
You guys hang behind. He did it in Alexandria when they get up to the tower and he's like,
Yeah.
you guys leave. I'll
She
take
means
care
more
of this.
to me than she does to you. So
There's been multiple times, and there's another example. This is important. It's not just a little thing. It's really important for a big payoff for his character in the next episode we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
But anyways, so it's not quite 5 minutes. I mean, he goes all the way to Alexandria, however long that takes.
Yeah,
finds her
takes a
there
while.
searching for a while. They have a conversation and come all the way back to Lindblom, and then then the ship is built.
The ship is built.
But
Sid even says, hey, now that I've got my memory back, we're going to use parts from other ships for reasons.
Yes, the ship you've been using.
Yeah.
That was actually a funny scene. The Hildegard one that was stolen by Hilda and then taken over by Kuja is like flying, and then the ship is just like catching up to them in the ocean. Remember that scene?
Yes,
where
I
it's
do.
just like chasing them all the way to Esto Gaza. It's like that ship is really fast.
Yeah.
So he realized I
cool.
took it as in that chase sequence. This is actually a pretty good ship. We should use some of this design
base it on
blueprint
this.
for this airship. So he kind of gets the idea.
He didn't build a whole new airship from scratch. He used components existing, and then also it's stuff that would still probably take a year or more.
Yeah.
He did very quickly. So that was pretty funny. But the way that Regent Sid finally becomes a human is wonderful. I liked it a lot.
I loved it too.
Hilda, true love's kiss. It was so good. There's a lot of stuff in this game that is very fairy tale-esque. And the fairy tale-ness of their story, the princess kissing the frog who then turns into a king or prince or king, is just a wonderful fairy tale. But the original story of Princess and the Frog does not include a kiss at all.
Really?
Now, when I say original, like there are so many versions of this story, but the one that the Brothers Grimm took down,
Sure.
instead of a kiss, she grabs the frog and throws him against the wall trying to kill it.
Oh.
She slaps
that's
it into
right.
the wall.
I remember
she
that.
tries to kill the frog.
Yeah.
And then the prince emerges and is like, hey, you did all these nice things for me and you released me from the spell by doing this. And then they have a kiss and it's all lovey and they get married.
That's right.
But
because she has to like take care of it and sleep with it and feed
it's supposed
it
to be in
and
her
all
bed.
I remember that.
And she's like,
story,
it's gross and slimy. And finally, she just is fed up with it and throws it against the wall. And it becomes the prince because, hey, at least she did enough of the nice things to make him a prince.
Those old fairy stories are so funny.
But it became a kiss later on that she kisses the frog. And that was never, but because that kind of entered into the public consciousness through other means, not through the Grimm's fairy tales, then that kind of becomes this fairy tale ending.
Yeah,
for
the Disney-fied version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, I thought that was super funny. I really liked that. That's how it was. That's how it happened.
That just reminded me of the scene back in Mount Gulug, though, where they're talking to Hilda, and then Sid enters and goes, "Hilda, my darling wife.
That's right.
Like, please turn me back." And she just turns away from him. I don't remember marrying a toad.
That's right. That's good.
That was really great.
And even when she fixes him and he becomes human again, he's still saying guac and ribbit like all the time. It's such old habits die hard, I guess.
Yeah,
it's
and I
really
like
funny.
I like the way he has to keep like requesting, and she's like, "Okay, but like you never cheat on me again."
And then he
he's
says,
like,
"I would never break my promise," or something, right? Like,
and she's like, "Because it'll be a lot worse next time." And he's like, "Gulp." Okay.
This is hard for him. Oh, it's hilarious.
But she turns him back.
Yeah.
He becomes his human form, a 35-year-old man.
35-year-old, white-haired, like wise old sage, possibly the oldest human in the whole game.
There's
it's funny.
there's the coffee guy. He's probably older.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's probably 36. 37, maybe 37. I don't know.
That's so funny because I completed the coffee quest, and he's like, "I'm ready to join my wife now. I've lived all of the great things of life a 37-year-old man can expect."
37-year-old man.
Anyway, but the ship gets rebuilt. Oh, and Garnet cuts her hair. We should probably talk about that.
Oh yeah.
This is symbolic of. So her voice comes back. She's like, "Zidane!" She speaks again, and
I have
she
quite a bit to
asks
say about that,
for
actually.
the knife from before. He's like, "What?" And he's like, "The one that we used when last time
When
I had
she
to make
named
an
herself.
important choice."
Yeah.
And she uses that dagger to cut her
Chunk.
hair.
I wish cutting hair was that easy. It's just like glides through it like
I
butter.
mean, you got a sharp enough knife, I guess. But
Yeah.
samurai swords were pretty dope.
Oh yeah,
back
they
in
were.
the
They
day.
were.
There it is, right there.
So before
Cutting
we
her
get
hair.
to the haircutting scene, and I have quite a bit to say concerning that because it's very symbolic in Japan. One of the big revelations is that Kuja isn't of this world, and we of course just learned all about Terra and whatnot.
Yes.
But one of the funniest things is Freya, because they're deciding where do we go next. Well, Ibsen's castle's a place I heard people talk about.
That's right.
Let's go there. And or no, there is a castle up north in the
Kuja had told
Forgotten
her
Continent.
about
Yeah.
that, yeah.
And they're like, but I don't know. It's so funny because Freya goes, well, since we don't know, since this castle doesn't have a name, let's call it Ibsen's castle.
Yes.
That's hilarious. And that reminds me a lot of Metal Gear Solid 3 for funny reasons. Like, let's make up a name right now, real quick, just right now on the spot. Since it doesn't have a name, let's call it Ibsen's Castle. Okay. There is some in-game lore about Ibsen, that he was like a wanderer or something like that. But the name Ibsen actually...
Ibsen.
Yeah. It's a Norwegian playwright, which is really funny. Apparently, like the most famous playwright in the entire world, except for William Shakespeare.
Yep.
And I don't know that I've ever heard
it's
one
crazy,
of Ibsen's
right?
plays.
It's just, that's how disconnected from theater in general the modern sort of zeitgeist is. It's just like not a part of the modern consciousness.
Just like in the last year, the most performed play was one of Ibsen's plays in the whole world. The most widely performed play was an Ibsen play. I can't even remember what it's called. Like, I should probably familiarize myself with this guy, because Norwegians are dope, and he's like, plays are dope. So let's go see some Norwegian plays.
Okay, guys, if you didn't believe me yet, that Final Fantasy was supposed to feel like a play.
Shakespeare,
do you believe me
Avon,
now?
and Ibsen.
It's I mean, I don't know how many times they got to reference like playwrights and theater in the game for you to believe me that this was supposed to be theatrical in presentation, more so than cinematic, though there are a combination of the two. Okay, go on.
Okay, so before we meet Garnet, we meet Beatrix. And Beatrix, like, you hear the song playing. She's just walking around Alexandria, kind of, I guess, helping do stuff, but mostly kind of just reminiscing or looking at what used to be, and is very melancholy, very sad. And you hear the Rose of May song in its full entirety playing here, and it's really nice. But Baku shows up. He just shows up everywhere. And he goes, hey, Zidane, oh, good to see you here.
Another trait of theatrical presentation.
Yeah.
Just a character is just there.
He just shows
This happens all the time. They show up on the stage, no explanation given or needed.
Yeah.
They're just there. This happens all the time in this game.
It's
for
wonderful.
Comedic effect.
And you don't need to worry. And Baku, of course, is a very comedic character. He says, hey, so I saw that chick.
Yes.
That chick. First off, the word chick is like, geez, I probably should have looked into the Japanese for that. But he's just like, hey, I saw that chick. And it's like, Garnet? No, the other one. And he's like, she's around here somewhere. And he just kind of like doesn't give you any info. He's so non-verbose. Yeah. He says stuff. He expects you should know what he means when he says it. And then he just moves on. And so it's like, who are you talking about? So Zidane goes running around, and finally Beatrix shows back up. And then they find each other. And it's like, oh, great. She would know where Garnet is, right? Because Zidane thought he would know exactly where she'd be, and he went right to the spot, and she wasn't there, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, I think he thought it'd be by the docks, by the boats, right?
Right.
And so then
Beatrix
shows up.
They have the whole thing. Yeah, Beatrix shows up, and he's looking down, and he runs down there, and she disappears, and he comes out, and he doesn't see her. He leaves. She comes back out. Is like, wait, there she is.
Yeah.
It's super theatrical.
It's almost like
comedic.
I can't remember the name. It's like Benny something. The music.
Oh, Benny Hill?
Yeah. And they're just going around and can't find each other.
Yeah.
Anyways, but instead it's Rose of May, which, much better song in my opinion. But Beatrix is crazy with the Aizuchi here, because we show up and it's like, hey, Garnet got lost. Garnet got lost? And she's just repeating everything we say, and it's really, really funny. But finally she kind of gets it. Now she seems kind of dazed, Beatrix. Like, she doesn't really know what to do.
Yeah, she's
not
definitely
her normal self.
After the destruction of Alexandria, and I'm sure the loss of most of her guards, and her job is to protect the city. That was her job. Like, what do I do at this point?
Yeah, she doesn't know what to do. But finally she says, oh, well, there is this one other place, which is the place where we saw her mourning the loss of her mother at the beginning of Disc 3?
2.
Or at the end of Disc 2?
Yeah.
Or beginning of Disc 2?
Beginning of Disc 2, end of Disc 1. No, end of Disc 2, because Garnet's mother dies at the end of Disc 2. Beginning of Disc 3. You were right.
And then she also gives us a garnet to give to Garnet, which could have been a hilarious pun, but they didn't choose to go that way. But yeah, so we get a little stone, and she's like, hey, it's like beautiful, so give it to Garnet. And then Dagger, of course, is over there at the grave or something like that. And now she can speak. So this is very important. Zidane approaches her like, hey, finally found you, but he needs to convince her to come with him, but she can't talk, and he doesn't want to be too pushy, but he He doesn't know what to do. Anyways, she can talk, so it's great. It solves a lot of problems. But he tells her this story about the stone. He says, hey, Beatrix gave this to me to give to you. And he throws it about 60 feet into the air, right? And she just catches it super easily. So luckily, it could have easily fallen or broken or something like that. But there it is. And he tells her about the rock. He's like, hey, that stone had a wish. It used to be a normal stone, but it wished to shine, and then it traveled from hand to hand until it ended up in your hands, right? So it's just a really brief kind of story that sort of enchants what otherwise could be explained as just a rock. It's like, what's the importance of this rock? No, this is important. It's a shiny rock, which means it used to be just a normal rock, but when you have it, it's not just a normal rock, right? This is a shining rock. And it's just like you share the name with the stone, you have a wish to shine, and, through all of your adventures, then you can fulfill that wish as well, right? And so I thought it was a really cool story. I like stuff like that.
Yep.
And then she grabs the dagger and she says, "Remember the way I was ... for me." And it's possible you're supposed to maybe think that she's going to end her life. I don't know how seriously you were supposed to think that, but the way she's talking and she's not telling you what she's going to do with the dagger does kind of make you maybe think 1% like, oh, is she going to do something crazy? And then she cuts the hair. So I have something that I wrote down here for this. Cutting hair is breaking from the past is basically what it is. Your hair, the longer parts of your hair is like years old, potentially, especially for her. Her hair was really long.
Yeah.
It went below her waist. It was super long. So that's years and years and years of hair. And when you cut it off, you're severing yourself from that past, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of it, but a lot of the past. So in Shinto beliefs, cutting one's hair is a purification ritual. Hair has spiritual energy called ki, right? Well, ki is a Japanese word for it. And cutting your hair helps to release negativity and restore balance. Cutting your hair, also like the top knot for a samurai, is also it's like
a big deal.
A shame kind of thing. If you're renouncing your status or you're no longer going to be a samurai, you would have your top knot cut off.
Yes.
But it was a very big deal, right? Your hair is important. And cutting generally speaking, also women are expected to have long hair, and cutting it can symbolically free one from the expectations of others, right? And cutting one's hair is commonly done by women after a couple will break up, right? So it symbolizes starting anew or starting fresh. So this is a common thing in Japan. Her haircut is juxtaposed also as she cuts her hair and she lets a bunch of the strands fly off into the wind. Mm-hmm. It's juxtaposed against the backdrop of people rebuilding Alexandria. You see people kind of in the background in chains, and they're kind of lifting up stones and trying to just rebuild the city. And so they're starting anew as well. The city is going to start anew. She needs to start anew as well.
Right.
So that's what I've got for the haircut.
Yeah.
It means multiple things on different levels, but for the most part, she's trying to start fresh. Everywhere she goes and every time she goes there, she always ends up a captive somehow.
Yep.
This is kind of her finally deciding that that's just not going to be the case anymore.
Yeah, because she was talking about the reason kind of that she even came back here was this place is my responsibility. I'm the queen and I'm not here as the people are rebuilding the place. Yeah. But before I take up that responsibility and that mantle, can I just come with you for a little bit longer?
Right.
So
she isn't ready to be the queen yet.
So I think there's also, in addition to that, like you're saying, sort of the freeing herself from that kind of burden or responsibility.
Sure. That she will do it when she chooses to do it.
Yes.
Instead of when it is placed upon her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that beautiful princess hair represented a form of captivity.
Yeah.
And this is a way of breaking from that and being who she wants to be rather than who she's expected to be, at least for the time being, at least for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, nice symbolism involved.
Yeah, it was very, very cool.
I think that's probably a good place.
Yep, this is where we get the new airship.
Leave off.
Finally, freedom, and we can take to the skies. But her cutting her hair represented a type of freedom, And at this time, our constraints for travel are also cut.
Yeah.
We can
yeah,
go
they
wherever
coincide.
we want. Yep.
That's actually
So
a good point.
she becomes free from her burdens. And also remember that she's associated with the birds, right? The doves and all of that. She longs to be like the doves.
Fly.
When she cuts her hair and finally cuts, a lot of the constraints that have been placed upon her, we all as a party get to fly like a bird. So there's something cool about that.
Good spot to stop. We will cover Ibsen's Castle through the end of Disc 3 next episode. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys are enjoying this. We're getting towards the end of the game. Not too much longer. I'm thinking probably 3 more episodes, and then we'll be at the end. So
Okay.
So it's time to vote. If you're still around, time to go vote on what we play next. So check out our Patreon, $5 level. You can get involved in that poll. Let us know what you want us to cover after FF9. Thank you for watching. See you next week. Bye.